In this tutorial, I'm going to show you a fairly easy way to create a personalized course completion certificate when one of your learners completes your course, and send that to your learner in an email. So I'm going to be using, the three things you'll need is an Owwlish account, obviously. You'll need a Gmail account or a Google account for Google presentations, sort of like Google Docs, and you'll need Zapier. So Zapier has a free plan that should suffice for this, and you get a bunch of, I believe, free zaps with that. So hopefully that should be sufficient for most folks. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to start with, we'll start with Google presentations, and what you're going to want to do is create a new presentation. I will put a link to my demonstration presentation here. It will have this background image, so you can see I've uploaded a background image, and kind of what I did to do this, I found a pretty nice looking presentation, certificate background image. You could just Google that, like course certificate background, or just image. And then if you go to images, you'll see a bunch of different samples. A lot of them already have words filled in, so you want to find one that either you can just erase the words, like their names and stuff, or just the background itself. You might even type in background. Again, you can just use whatever you want, whatever looks good for your branding, and find something that works. And then when you're ready, you can go into the presentation. You're just going to make one slide here, and you're just going to choose an image for the background. So this is what I did for here. I found one that just kind of works. It fits my needs. And then all these are just regular pieces of text. You just insert text box to get those, and you can change the fonts, you can change colors, whatever you want. Also, you're going to want to create like a little line if you want, or if you don't want to do a line, you don't have to, but at least you're going to want to put the name of the course somewhere here. So here's kind of my sample course, Crypto Investing 101, right? Whatever the name of your course is, you put it here, and you can change the color on this. I can make this, I can try to match this to something. Let's do this. Let's just make it like orange or something like that. A little odd, but anyway, it's not the exact color of this. Let me try one more thing. I can actually use a little grabber there, just to make it nice looking. So make this the color, like a custom color here. Put my hex in there, and now that actually matches perfectly the same color. So that's good, and then maybe I'll make it bold, make it a little bit bigger so that they can see it. And I'm not thrilled about this. If I can get rid of this line. I'll just leave it for now. Alright, so we have this. This is what we want. And one thing that we're going to do is use something called a variable. And so this is where I want their name to come to be put in. So what we're doing here is we're putting two brackets, curly brackets on the left and on the right, and then the word name. And you'll see why this will matter later on when we do the Zapier. But this is all you need to do. Put their name here, and if there's any other information, you can probably put that in as well. But for now, let's just make it simple, and this will be extracted from Owwlish. So we're done with that. And the other thing you want to do is just make sure you give this a good name. So I called it Course Certificate Template. And again, I'll share this with people if they want, so they can download this or copy it to their own Google Drive. Now, all I'm going to do here is go to my Zapier, and I'm going to create a new Zap. Let's see, come on, new Zap, here we go. Now, for the trigger, you're going to want to do a trigger is basically an event that starts this whole process. So for the trigger, we're going to want to connect to an app, and that app will be Owwlish in this case. Should be available when you look for it. And I've already set up my Owwlish account, so because I've already set that up, it's ready to go. Now, what I'm going to do in this case is do lesson complete. Alright, and then I've already set up my Owwlish account, but if you need to, you can reconnect or connect to it, and you'll go through kind of an authentication process. You'll say, yes, I authorize. Kind of a green button pop-up will show up, that kind of thing. I think it should show you something like this. This will probably give me an error because I've already connected. But if you haven't done this, it'll ask you to click a green button and you'll proceed. Now we're going to go to test, and it's just going to pull some kind of random sample data. You can see this is like a sample data here. This is all I need. And then I'm going to go to the next one, and we're going to connect it to Google Presentation. I guess is it Slides? I don't know what they call it. I guess they call it Slides. So Google Slides. I need to choose an event. This will be called Create Presentation from Template. This is the first one we're going to use. I've already connected my Google account, but if you haven't, you can connect that. And then the action is going to be title of the presentation. We can name this whatever we want. Basically, what I would say is you have the ability, I'd just say course certificate, course completion, let's call it. Completion certificate, and then I'm going to put a dash, and I'm going to put the name of the person. So the way I'm going to do that, oops. I'm going to put that in there, and then here's where I'm going to go down, and I'm going to put the name of the learner, so learner name. So what this will do is allow, me to make it more customized. Now it's kind of backwards here. I don't know why. So let's put that here. So basically the name of the presentation should be this, and then it will add their name there. Is it shared? Yes, it should be shared. True. And that means that anyone who has the link will be able to view that presentation. And then the template presentation, it found it because I'm connected my Google Drive, so it found this particular exact name up here. Found it right there, so I'm just going to use that one, which is great. And we're going to continue. So now, what should happen is when any lesson is completed in Owwlish by that learner, it will create this. Now that's not what we want. If it did that, what we'd end up with is we'd have a presentation created for every single lesson, every single learner in our system created, and that's not going to be good. So what we're going to do is add a bit of a filter. And we're going to want to make sure that only proceed to the next step when the lesson ID is exactly matches the ID from our course lesson, which is the last lesson. So we're going to go into the course we want to do this for. Let's say we do Interview Victory here. I'm going to go to the very last lesson. Actually, let me try a different course. I'll do this one here. And I'm going to go to the very end called Last Lesson. Now, to get this lesson ID, I can look at the URL here. Here's my course ID, and this is my lesson ID. So I want to use this exact number here. I'm going to copy this ID, and this is what I'm going to put in here. So it basically will now only run. So every time a lesson is completed by any learner, it will check to make sure that that lesson completed has this exact ID, which is the last lesson of my course. And if that is the case, it will proceed and create this template. So that's how that should go. Now you can probably it'll probably ask to test this, and you can go ahead and test it. It'll just give you kind of a nonsense one, but let's test it anyway. Probably should give us a green. And when it gives us this green, we should probably check our Google Drive to make sure it showed up. So let's do that. Okay, so it gave us the green checkbox for the test, and we're now going to publish it. I should probably rename it too. Let's call this, I'll rename. Let's call this Owwlish Course Completion Certificate. And there we go, and then I'll publish it again. Now, I just want to make sure it showed up here, and it did show up here. So the learner name is generic. It just kind of grabbed any learner name. So when I open this up, it should have, oh, look at this. There's something I missed here, which is good. I'm glad I tested this. So this is not a good one. You can just trash this one. And then what I'm going to do is go back and add one more thing, because the presentation needs to have one more thing. See here, this says name. When I connected to my Google Slides, it searched for variables, and it found that in my when I selected this file, it looked and found that there was a name in double brackets, the word name. And so it actually pulled this into the Zap, which is cool, and it says, what do you want to use for this name? So what I'm going to use here is the learner name here. So now this should be ready to go because it will fill that in for me. So now that it's published, let's actually do a real live test and see if it works. Okay, so to test this out, you need to test this on your website where your course is embedded. So to do that, here's where the course is embedded on my website. This is a test website. And I'm just going to log in to my account, to my Owwlish account. I'm logging in as a learner, by the way, not as an instructor, not as a creator, but as a learner. And let me just go into my Yahoo account, which I kind of use for mostly spam. Okay, and I found my login email here from Owwlish. I'm going to copy that, send to my login box. Now I'm not sure if I'm even enrolled in this course. I am enrolled. Okay, great. So I resume the course here, and now all I need to do to test this is just go to the last lesson and complete it. Now, one thing to note is if you want to make sure that people have actually completed this and not just jumped around from any lesson that they want, then what you could probably do is turn on linear progression. So just to note that if you want to make sure people have seen all the lessons in this course, I would recommend turning on linear progression. This will make sure that they cannot just jump around from lesson to lesson and accidentally hit the last lesson, because they're not allowed to unless they've completed the other previous lessons. So that's how I would do it if I want to make sure that they didn't just cheat, basically. I'm going to turn it off though because I don't really care in this case. And so I'll refresh that. Now they can again go anywhere they want. But let's go down to the second to last lesson here, which is write your thoughts. And we'll just act like we are finalizing and finishing this course with mark complete. And then we're going to take it to the last lesson, which is called last lesson. Hi, and thanks for taking the course. To receive your certificate, click the complete button below. So we'll complete this. And then the next step is to kind of wait to see what happens with Zapier. If we go in here, once that gets completed, this should now trigger the file to get created, which it did. And as you can see, it named it what we told it to name it, Course Completion Certificate Kevin Marshall. If I open this, it will look pretty much the way I want. Yep. Certificate of Completion. This is by Kevin Marshall, completed the Crypto Investing 101. So anyway, this is what it will create, again, based on the name of the learner. If I go to that learner, you can see that the display name is Kevin Marshall, even though the first and last name is Tess. Now, when they sign up, the display name will be a compilation of this plus that, so it should be their name. And then you can just see that everything's filled out as expected. Now, the question would be, what do we want to do with this, and how do we get this to our learner? Well, the next step we can do is just add an additional step to this. And so we can use something like email. And there's actually email by Zapier, which is pretty easy. And we can choose to send an outbound email. We can put the name of the learner, or actually the learner email here. And then we can name the subject, congratulations, completing, what is it, Crypto Investing 101, and then whatever we want. Great job. Great job, and then we can even put their name in, etc. Please find your certificate of completion. And actually, I think I'll change this a little bit. So, by downloading, let's just say, please download your certificate of completion using the following link. And then for the link, what we're going to do is look for PDF. If I look for PDF, I should get a kind of an export link PDF thing at the very bottom. It's kind of a lot of nonsense here. Let's see, export links, PDF. This is the one I want. So I'm going to try that. That should allow them to download this as a PDF directly without having to worry about sharing this as a document with them. The other thing I'm going to try to do is add this PDF link to the attachment field. I'm not sure if this will work, to be honest. But if it does, that means I could even attach this PDF to the email, which would be nice because then you're sending it directly without them having to download it. Either way should work though. So we'll just see what happens. And let's publish this. Everything should be ready. Looks pretty good. I'm going to figure out why that's not working. Why is this not working? Everything's tested. Let's try refreshing and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it's ready to go. So what we're going to do is just test this again. I am still logged in as the learner. So the goal will be to complete this last lesson one more time and see what happens this time. So if I press completed, we'll look in here to see if our new file shows up. Again, it can take up to 2 minutes, so go to new file here. Looks good like last time. And then the goal will be to see if I received an email as well. Okay, so I just got the email. Here it is from me, basically. And we have the great job, please download your certificate. Now what happened was, because I added this 2 ways, it seemed to add it both as a link, and then it just attached it as a PDF. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It attached it as a PDF as we expected, but it also, because I gave it a link, it somehow included this in the Gmail account. So probably what I would do to fix that, so it only gives one, is I would go in and I would just remove the top part right here. So that what should happen now is delete this part. I'll just say, please find your certificate of completion attached. And then thank you. Now that keeps it there as a PDF. We republish this, and let's test one more time. So you can see I have a lot of these that are kind of built up because I've been testing. So let's try again from scratch. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to refresh. Mark this one complete. This is my last lesson again. Okay, here it is. And this came out better. So we have the name of the title of the email as we expect. It has my name here, which is great. And then it has just the PDF attached. And if I click on this, I can download it as a PDF, which is kind of nice. So that's it. They have this ready to go, and this should be pretty easy to replicate on your end. If you need me to send you a template for this template for the slides, let me know, but I think I'll put this template as a downloadable, or not a download, but just as a link in the tutorial page where you're looking at this, or in the video down below. Video description, I should say, down below. All right, thanks so much, and let us know if you have any questions. You could, I guess, do the previous. You could share it as a document as well, but I think that the easy